And we're live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Lyons. I am the founder and co-host of the Undercut podcast. I am joined here by the beautiful, wonderful Mark Gould.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today?
And yeah, today's topic, we're just going to kind of introduce ourselves, go over why we're F1 fans, why you should listen to us, and then talk about our top 10 Formula One drivers of all time.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and a couple other things. Mark, you want to roll the intro?
I absolutely do want to roll the intro.
So first, we're just going to kind of introduce ourselves. And so my name is Adam, as you probably know. I have been a Formula One fan for 6 years now, since 2015. How I became a Formula One fan was I was sitting on my grandmother's couch bored one summer, and I was just scrolling through YouTube. And Arava, if you don't know who that is, he's a British YouTuber. You should check him out because I love his videos. He came up in my recommended. He was playing F1 2015. I watched one of his Sebastian Vettel career mode videos, watched the entire series, bought the Thrustmaster T80, bought F1 2015, and kind of the rest is history. I got really into it, and we've been an avid fan ever since. I've barely missed a race.
Here we are, yeah.
And here we are.
My name is Mark, as you all hopefully know at this point. I have less of a long history in my F1 journey. Started midway through about 2018. Became really an avid fan last year after I got tickets and went to the Montreal 2019 race. An incredible race, by the way. And since then, the rest is history. I barely miss races. I'm all over it. It's all I can really... It's most of what I think about nowadays, honestly. So we decided to start talking about it on a podcast instead of just together, right?
Yeah. Formula One has this kind of thing. It sucks you down the rabbit hole, and you start watching it, and then all of a sudden you can't stop, and here I am. I haven't missed a race in 2020 yet. I've seen every race on time. I've only missed one qualifying, and yeah, not a day goes past where I don't talk about F1. So we love F1, and we love hearing and we love talking about it. So if you guys have any questions, you want to challenge us on something, fact check us, you have segment ideas, episode ideas, please send us a DM. Our Instagram is The Undercut Pod on Instagram, and our website is theundercutpod.ca. And we love talking about it, so reach out to us and we'll have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.
So, Mark, what are we going to go over today?
Well, today our main focus on the episode is it's our top 10 Formula One drivers of all time. It's not so much based just on speed because we think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but we think that being an incredible driver isn't just based about speed. It's about what you're like on the track, what you're like off the track, what your personality is like. Don't get me wrong, speed has a lot to do with it and how you perform. You're not going to get on this list if you're not a good driver, right? But it's not everything.
So don't expect Paso Maldonado. Sorry, you didn't make the list. I know he probably watches the podcast.
Hey, I won't lie to you. That guy did win a race in 2012 for Williams.
He had Spain. That was an incredible race.
Yeah, was that one of Williams' last wins?
It was Williams' last win, Paso Maldonado. So.
Isn't that sad, man?
So
an incredible history just to go down the tubes.
Yeah. Well, so
for the most part, they have some. They have life left in them.
They got Latifi now. I think Latifi's very underrated.
Do you?
Do you agree? Yeah, it's pretty controversial. It's the same thing with Lance Stroll. Wasn't great in 2017.
No,
he comes
of course
in,
not.
Daddy's money, this kind of thing. He is doing incredible.
Oh, I agree. But he also has a car that's, last year's Mercedes, but that's, neither here nor there.
But if you compare him to his teammate Sergio Perez, for Sergio Perez to have to be able to, and this isn't ended up being the case, but to retain his seat next year, he would have had to absolutely blow Lance Stroll out of the water.
Oh, absolutely. I've had a few debates in the past, month and a half about prior to Lance Stroll re-signing about who they thought was going to get the seat. And I said, well, one, Lance is outperforming Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
But he's also Lawrence Stroll's kid, and it's going to take a lot to make him say, nah.
Yeah. Not only is Sergio Perez not crushing Lance Stroll, he's not even beating him.
No, not at all.
He's behind. And yeah, he missed 2 races because of, unfortunately, he got COVID, and thank God he recovered.
Absolutely.
But, Lance Stroll's been on the podium in Monza where Sergio Perez was pretty much nowhere.
It's true.
And he's just had some incredible performances. He used to qualify pretty well and then have okay races, but he's qualifying well and having amazing races now.
Yeah, it's true.
So he missed 2 races. He got he got punted off in Russia, and then he missed because he was sick in the Eiffel Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure in his standings compared to Checo. They're pretty close though. I'm pretty sure Lance is still ahead.
They would be. I do agree. He's really coming to his own over, like, especially this year. Last year, he had a better season than 2017, 18, obviously. Mm-hmm. But he really has come into his own recently, and it's nice to see, especially because he did get a lot of like crap because he is a pay to play driver. That's what he is. Like as much as now he's earned a spot at the beginning. He's a billionaire son whose dad gave a lot of money to the Williams family to let him run and drive that car.
I actually I disagree with that a little bit. I think Lance Stroll, he is a kind of a pay to play, and his dad invested a lot of money into Williams to get them on, and then bought Racing Point. But he has gone up the ranks really impressively and really quickly. In F3, he got, I think, the most points ever attained in a season. He crushed those seasons in the lower ranks, and he's done really well to come up and kind of proven himself to the point where his dad was like, okay, now this is worth the investment. And yeah, it's Dad, can you buy me a team? Sure, son. But yeah, that's pretty much he has proved himself a little bit, and he's found his legs in F1, and he's pretty impressive. A lot more impressive, and he was underrated in the past couple of years.
No, I agree. There's no arguing that he's a good driver. Like, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has definitely proven himself there, but I don't know if there are better drivers who could have had a seat that he took because his dad bought him a team.
Nico Hulkenberg.
Literally, yeah. Nico Hulkenberg, yeah. But I'm sure he'll have a seat next year, yeah. He's had an incredible season, the 3 races he's been in.
Yeah, he has more he has more points than Williams, Haas, and Alfa Romeo, I think, combined.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or at least individually.
It's hilarious. He doesn't even have a seat this year.
Hulking back, and now, very unfortunately, Valentino Rossi has, for MotoGP, he has been diagnosed with COVID, so we send our best wishes, and we hope that he has a speedy recovery. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think Hulkenberg's got to go. He's got to be Hulking bike now.
He might have to be. He's going to go take that Petronas seat.
Nico Hulkenberg wins 2020 MotoGP season.
Oh, rest in peace, Valentino Rossi, I guess.
What do you mean, rest in peace?
Life left in him. I might give him that.
Valentino Rossi, we wish him a very speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Big fans of that guy over here at the Undercut podcast.
Mm-hmm. So, Mark, let's just jump right into the list. Let's get right into it, baby.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Yes. Looking forward to it.
So we're going to go, like Mark mentioned before, we're going to go over our top 10 Formula One drivers. We've each comprised a list. We haven't told each other the list. We got honorable mentions. And again, it's not going to be based on speed because...
solely on speed.
Solely on speed. It's going to be speed, your ability to give feedback to the team, your track, and everything like that. It's going to be that combined with speed. You're not going to make a driver on the planet, and he had a couple of good races.
And an incredible driver, yeah.
Yeah, that's not how we wanted to comprise this.
Absolutely.
List. So let's just jump right into it. Mark, who's at your number 10 slot?
So my number 10 slot's a little bit controversial. I had a lot of trouble within the 9 and 10 spots trying to figure out which guy I wanted to put in there. Mm-hmm. Number 10, I think there was 7 or 8 different drivers that I wanted to put in that spot. It took me probably an hour alone to figure out who I wanted to throw in there.
For me, it was the number 7 to 10 was... that is...
It's tough. It's difficult.
It was really tough.
So for my number 10, I put Nigel Mansell. I don't know how you feel about that.
Good choice. He actually isn't on my list.
Interesting.
He isn't on my list, but he is in my honorable mentions. He is an incredible driver. Why is he number 10 for you?
So, I think that's the biggest thing that set him apart from the other drivers on my list was not only did he win the 1992 Formula One World Championship, but he also took a year off Formula One racing after that, went to IndyCar, and then won that championship too. So
I actually didn't know that before. You just told me that right now. Yeah. That's incredible to leave and go. That is...
Yeah, so the guy is an incredible driver. He clearly had his chops out in Europe and in North America. On top of that, he had 31 career race wins, which is not an easy feat to get. You know, think about how hard it is to win one race win. There's a lot of drivers who have nothing.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg.
Doesn't even have a podium.
No.
Yeah. Career. He's coming back, though. He's coming back.
Oh, absolutely. But
you heard it here first.
31 race wins. That's an impressive number.
That's
more
impressive.
That's more than a season worth of wins.
Mm-hmm. Just a little side note, it's also important to know we're going to discuss this list and then build a list and go over that top 10 list at the very end of this podcast.
Absolutely.
To avoid a little bit of confusion.
Yeah.
Because we each have our individual lists, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be different. We haven't looked at each other's yet.
No.
But, yeah, Nigel Mansell, he is in my honorable mentions. He's a great driver.
Absolutely.
And I fucking love the mustache.
Dude, incredible guy.
Great guy, better mustache,
and
honestly.
My last reason, which is less of a skill-based reason, but more something I just like about the guy. Mm-hmm. He was part of that iconic trio in the late 80s, early 90s of Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, and obviously Nigel Mansell. So I thought, like, that's pretty cool. He, there was a bunch of years, there was a long battle between the three of them, tragically, obviously, ending in Ayrton Senna's death, which, rest in peace, he was an icon to the sport. Mm. One of the reasons why I chose him to be my number 10. What about you? Who's your number 10?
Yeah, my number 10, this is extremely controversial, so we're starting to write off at just pure controversy here. So thank you for listening to the Undercut podcast. This is probably going to be our last podcast.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. We're going to be around for a long time.
We're going to be around for a long time. Listening weekly. My number 10 is Fernando Alonso.
Oh, that's a great choice.
There's not a driver I like and don't like. I love and hate at the same time as much as Fernando Alonso. Maybe Alain Prost, which we'll talk about later. Fernando Alonso, 2 world championships, multiple race wins. The guy, he's outdriven every car. I know, Mark, you were talking to me about this. We were talking about this before. He's outdriven every single car he's been in.
Ever had, yeah.
And he's just quick and he's so knowledgeable on the track. He took the Renault, the RS19. Or the RS20, sorry, out for a spin around Spain, and even just hearing about that, he was pretty quick. There's a couple of reasons he's at 10, because if this was based on speed, Fernando Alonso, he'd be close to number 1.
He's top 3 for sure.
Yeah, for sure, top 3 or 4.
Absolutely.
His relationship with especially McLaren in 2008.
18?
2008.
Oh, the first stint.
And then his relationship with Ferrari back in the 2010, kind of 13, 14 era.
Yeah.
And then his relationship with McLaren again, which is really sour. And it was a very toxic environment between him and the team. And obviously, I don't know exactly what happened between them.
No, of course not.
But yeah, it was pretty toxic. And he left McLaren really poorly, left Ferrari even worse. And then his McLaren Honda, I will always remember him, was just that GP2 engine, GP2, just that incident. And I remember hearing that he was going to go race a Honda powered car for the Indy 500, and Honda didn't
let him. Yeah,
they didn't let him do it.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Because he roasted Honda so bad.
I mean, to be fair, would you?
I would have. Honda, sorry, you were very much lacking.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that was a shocking performance.
It's true.
But they came back with Red Bull, and they're going to do great for years to come. Oh, wait, no, because they left the sport. Oh,
yeah, after next year, they're gone.
Just pure controversy.
To be fair, they have had some good motors over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like last year when Max won, I can't remember what race.
Well, he won in his first race win with Honda, and it was their first race win in like 30 years or 20 years, was a Honda-powered car, was Austria 2018.
Yes.
And he loves that engine, and he really wants that engine to stay with Red Bull. He was pointing on, there's pictures of him
pointing at the Honda logo.
So he was, and that's a pretty power heavy track. There's 3 big straights, couple S sections.
And in 2018, that was like the pinnacle of Ferrari straight line power too, right?
Yeah, right before that engine became illegal.
Yeah, we're not going to get started on that. Not today, at least.
This time on the Undercut podcast, we just roast the SF1000 for 3 hours. If you're just tuning in, not that you'd just be tuning in now because it's a recorded podcast. But, so anyway, back to the list. My number 9, I don't have a ton of information on him, but it's Jim Clark.
Okay, classic.
Yeah. So until his death, he held the record for the most race wins, and he had 2 championships, 25 race wins. He was driving an F2 car,
Basically,
I believe, and he was testing an F2 car, and he died.
Right.
He
Yes.
crashed. But yeah, incredible guy, great personality on and off the track. So I've heard based on just reading articles and everything like that.
Not to mention an incredible driver too, right?
Yeah, and he was really quick in the car. 25 race wins and a short number of races, 2 championships. Back in a day where drivers were kind of honestly dropping like flies, and the cars were unreliable, the engines didn't work, the aerodynamics were nothing, and
not to mention they were basically death traps.
Yeah, and if you think of when Formula One races now versus the conditions they raced in, we're going to talk about a couple of these conditions a little bit later. They raced in rain, shine, storm. If it was 8 feet of snow, those guys are
get on that track and go.
Race. Yeah, there's pretty much nothing that holds them back. And
you put your leather helmet on and you get in that car.
Yeah,
honestly,
you put on your your fireproof in quotation mark gloves.
Yeah,
that you basically dump gasoline on before the race. And it's just you and a solid steel beam traveling at 200 miles an hour. So
terrifying.
Yeah, and Mark, who's your number 9?
So it's funny you said Fernando Alonso, because he's actually my number 9.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was also kind of a tough one for me because I was trying to figure out if his off-track shenanigans, I guess is the best word.
Yeah. Toxicity
outdid his on-track performance, and honestly, in the end, it didn't.
And I agree with that.
Like you said, he's a 2-time drivers' world champion, right? He is the man who dethroned Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
After 5 consecutive drivers and constructors championships for Ferrari right in a row.
Yeah.
That young dude came in his Renault car and blew him at the water twice.
That beautiful
blue
livery,
and yellow.
not to mention blue and yellow. 2005, 2006.
Oh, Nelly.
He was a hot shot. And you see him online with the ladies too. He's got 2 girls. He's always got 2 girls.
Oh, dude.
On his shoulder.
That comes to one of my next points, actually.
Fernando Alonso, number 1 on our list because he's a ladies man.
So one of the things I said also was that he drove his car for the vast majority of his career. The vast majority of his career. Incredible. Yeah. And, as much as he was toxic for his teammates and most of the people he was around, he's basically a god in Spain.
He is. I know a couple Spanish guys. Albert Sniper, 2002. If you're listening, we were teammates in the 12-hour of Spa race. He just has the utmost respect. So I don't know if we're going to be friends after this because I just kind of roasted Fernando Alonso. But yeah, to be a god and to be like that well respected in your country is
incredible,
insane. He's kind of like a Michael Jordan figure in Spain.
Yeah.
If you know who Michael Jordan is,
who doesn't?
Exactly. And you know who Fernando Alonso is.
He's also extremely respected by every other driver in the sport. I was watching a podcast today, actually, the Nico Rosberg Beyond Victory podcast with Felipe Massa. And Felipe Massa put Fernando Alonso on the same level as Michael Schumacher. Now, do I agree with that? No, not necessarily.
Very controversial.
Very controversial, but he is incredible, and there's no denying that. And then the last point I had on him was basically just his toxicity towards his teammates and his team. And, I was going to touch on McLaren the first stint, Ferrari, and then McLaren again. And then his exit from the sport prior to next year.
A couple noticeable incidents. And, there's 2 ways to view it. You can view it as just really hard racing, and you can view it as unsportsmanlike. But Indianapolis, 2008, Lewis Hamilton was coming into the pits, and Fernando Alonso was on pole. Hamilton was P2. And Fernando waited in the pit. He's in the box until there was insufficient time for Hamilton to go in, change his tires, change his tires, and go back out.
Yeah.
And so it's some pretty controversial. It's just the things like that. And he was kind of swept up in the Crashgate incident in Singapore. That was none of his doing, but just getting his name dragged in like that, he gets a little bit of hate. But
and you always will. But
he can't not be on this list, though.
No, absolutely. His prowess as a driver and his just sheer skill is what put him here. As a person, probably wouldn't be on my top 10. You know what I mean? But just how incredible of a driver he was, and just like he's fun to watch too.
Yeah.
Every time like I watch like older races, for example, I don't know, one of my favorite races of all time, and also probably the saddest race of all time, Brazil 2008.
Yeah, rest in peace. Poliva Masters championship chances.
Rest in peace Ferrari's championship chances. Well, actually, they did win the constructors that year, but
and they won before, and 5 years before that. So you probably weren't like, oh my god, it's the end of the Ferrari world.
not at the time, but now looking back on it, it's really sad.
Yeah, you put the imagine Michael Schumacher driving the SF1000.
He'd be so sad.
He would honestly, it'd be him and Leclerc. They'd be like third and fourth. They'd be up.
Oh, dude,
they'd be up there just overdriving that car.
Talk about a guy who's out driving a car.
Yeah,
Charles Leclerc is. He's made that car his bitch.
yeah,
He really has. As terrible as that car's been this season, and you know the amount of money Ferrari dumps in that sport every year, they shouldn't be where they are.
no,
right?
they really
Like,
shouldn't.
He's been the one shining light in my Ferrari fandom stream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
It's just been a sad year.
Do you think it's more Charles Leclerc overdriving the car, or Charles Leclerc's on pace and Vettel's underdriving the car? I think it's a little bit of both. But
That's a good question.
I think week in, week out, Charles Leclerc he's just showing up and he's on it all the time, and you can hear it reflected in his radio when he says, "I can't give it anymore.
No.
That's it." And Sebastian Vettel, but I think Vettel's doing good, but when
Sebastian Vettel's kind of checked out, though, man. You can see
Yeah.
it this year. As soon as Ferrari was like, yeah, we're not bringing him back anymore, he was just kind of like, all right, I'm out.
and Ferrari has checked out on him.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. They're focusing all their efforts on Charles Leclerc. He is their number one driver. He will continue to be their number one driver. They have him signed till, like, what, 2024?
Yeah, 2025, I think.
Yeah.
So he is the future of Ferrari. He's the Michael Schumacher.
He will have a championship with Ferrari. I'm calling it now.
That's pretty controversial. But
I'm calling
you heard
it
it
now.
here first on the Undercut podcast.
I'm calling it here right now. Charles Leclerc will have a driver's championship and bring Ferrari back to their former glory.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see, but we're going to have to wait a couple more years. I saw a post today on Instagram that said Ferrari's going to use all of their tokens on the rear. I don't know what that means, but hopefully they can bring some improvements into 2021. If you don't know what the token system is, basically because of the coronavirus pandemic that we're facing right now, they've put the 2021 regulations on pause and have moved that to 2022.
Yep.
So the teams have also had to freeze their developments. So the same cars we have this year, we're going to have next year, and they get a few tokens that they can cash in and make small upgrades.
Right. Okay.
So moving on, kind of getting back, just Jim Clark did die in an F2 race.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
that's I did remember that correctly.
Yes,
He was going about 170 miles an hour. Just wanted to clear that up and make sure I wasn't being an idiot.
No, you were right. Yeah.
So number 8, I have Alan Prost.
Okay.
Alan Prost, again, he's kind of the Fernando Alonso of the 90s.
Yeah.
He's called the Professor. He is super quick. He's got it's hard not to put him on this list.
Yeah. 100%.
If you search up any list, you ask anyone,
You don't win 4 championships by accident.
Yeah, exactly. 51 Grand Prix wins, 4 championships. I liked his driving style because it was super calm.
Mm-hmm.
He never went over the edge, just right up on it. And
I was going to say he rode that fine line, and he did it well.
And he pushed it too. Like Formula One's all about pushing the boundaries. If you're not pushing and pushing,
You're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, so you'd be higher on the list, but he wasn't a great person towards his teams and the press and with the team. Like, he was fired by Ferrari for saying the car was driving like a truck, or driving a truck would be easier, and just the things like that, and just being really ruthless. It was Japan, the incident at the chicane with Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm.
Personal opinion. I'm not letting my opinions get in the way of my list, by the way. This is a completely unbiased list. I think Alan Prost turned into him, though.
I agree.
For sure. And Ayrton Senna got in a lot of trouble for that one. And
Yes, he did.
I don't really agree with that.
No.
But yeah, number 8, Alan Prost. Who's your number 8, Mark?
It's also Alain Prost.
Oh, really?
And I had pretty much the exact same reasons you did. Yeah, literally, it's pretty much the exact same thing. I think the only thing I highlighted more. Oh no, actually, it's pretty much the exact same. I just wanted the thing I touched on was he was more the downfall, but he was the reason for the downfall of the relationship between him and Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were teammates, they were great friends, I believe, at one point, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
Well, great friends,
Well,
but they
it's
were
like...
as good a friend as teammates can be.
Yeah, exactly, in Formula One. But they were teammates and friends, I guess, and their relationship crumbled, and that was majority to do with Alain Prost's attitude and his beliefs. I guess beliefs is a strong word, but his attitude for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we both had him at number 8. I guess that's pretty unanimous then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my number 7. So we're moving on to the number 7. Again, this one's a little controversial. Mark, I just got a peek at your list, so I know who your number 7 is.
Okay.
A little controversial. A lot of people would put this guy at number 1, but he's not. My number 7 is Sebastian Vettel.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw it on the list. So yeah, he when I was deciding where I wanted to put him on this list, I had to get over my kind of recency bias of just him this year, and especially in the turbo hybrid area. But he was so dominant in his early years at Red Bull.
Oh, and that V8 era was he
owned
was that V8 era.
Yeah, he owned
He
that era.
was that era, yeah.
And he was not handed those championships.
No, he had to fight.
2013 was pretty tough, like his easiest year. 9 race wins in a row. He kind of took that one and ran. He had experience with the team. The car was developed after winning 3 championships in a row. But 2012, he was not winning going into the last after like 11 races.
No, he wasn't.
Third.
Yeah.
So
not to mention Mark Webber didn't like that this little kid was winning races a lot of the time.
Mark Webber was pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had to fight really hard to win those championships.
He did.
And
4 in a row.
Yeah.
Like I said with Alain Prost, you don't do that by accident. That's skill. That's you as a driver.
Yeah,
knowing your shit.
Born skill, and just his relationship with Red Bull was so good. Christian Horner, he was Christian Horner's prodigy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So he was.
Shout out Christian Horner.
Yeah, shout out Christian Horner. I love you. The whole Red Bull team.
The boy landed a Spice Girl, dude. What do you can't get mad at that.
Yeah, exactly. Also, just really quick, my favorite team. I'm a huge Red Bull fan. I've been a Red Bull fan. In F1 2015, I chose Red Bull and Daniel Ricciardo as my first race. So I just picked them, followed them, and they are by far my favorite team. Okay. And I also love McLaren.
2015 was the year Daniel Kvyat was.
Yeah, it was Daniel Kvyat and
then Daniel Ricciardo.
So I races Ricciardo, and
it's a good choice.
Yeah. So Ricciardo, please come on the podcast.
Please.
Mark, you're a Ferrari fan, yeah?
Through and through. It's been a sad year for me, let me tell you that much.
Rest in peace to your championship hopes.
They weren't there to begin with, man.
2007.
Cheers, I guess.
So
we had a couple of years there. Come on.
Yeah, 2017,
2018. There was some championship. We're not going to go into Germany today.
Next on the Undercut podcast, we're just going to roast Ferrari in Germany and Sebastian Vettel.
I'm sure that can be another episode.
But anyway, yeah, 4 championships. Like, I don't even know how many race wins, but it's a lot.
Isn't it like 60-something, 70-something?
It's not 60 or 70. He's had the 3rd most race wins in Formula 1 history. 9 race wins in a row in 2013. The guy, he won in Toro Rosso in Italy in 2008. Really shouldn't have won that race, but he got the opportunity and he seized
53 race wins.
53.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the 3rd most in F1 history.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's at number 7. And Mark, you said number 7. Do you have any points that?
So he's also my number 7. The biggest things that we didn't really touch on when you talked about him were he had a less than smooth transition from the V8 to the hybrid twin turbo V6 era.
Yeah, he struggled against Daniel Ricciardo in 2014. Ricciardo ended up edging him out, basically. Went to Ferrari.
Yeah,
didn't go so well.
He's had less than impressive stint in Ferrari. And the other thing is he kind of crumbles when he has a teammate that's faster than him. Since Leclerc's gone to Ferrari and outperformed him, he just looks sad, to be honest with you. He just looks like a sad guy.
Yeah, he's qualified 13th, 14th. He has 60-something points. Like, he's fighting Gasly for championship standings. Ferrari is 6th in the championship.
It's not so sad.
It's ridiculous. And so, yeah, in that inability, I think that's the reason we both put him at number 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
who's your number 6?
My number 6 is Niki Lauda.
Oh, interesting.
I love.
That's low.
Really, you think that's low?
I think that's low. Well, like not crazy low, but like, he is Nicky Lauda.
He is Nicky Lauda. He's got a little boost because he was in Rush. Great movie, by the way.
True.
And
it is an incredible movie.
Again, you can't keep him like. There's so many reasons he's got to be on this list, but a lot of reasons. It was really tough to put him at 6. Originally, he was at 4.
Oh, okay.
And there's just a couple of drivers that I just saw that were a little bit better. His 1976 German Grand Prix in the green hell itself, Nordschleife, that crash and comeback 6 weeks later when his doctors and everyone thought he was going to die. That is insane. That is insane. In the 70s to crash like that.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. If I got in a crash that bad, I don't think I'd ever want to drive a car again.
No, probably not.
He won 3 world titles, defeated the odds. He was a stone cold driver, and to go up against the wildly popular James Hunt at the time.
What a playboy that guy was.
James Hunt, fucking legend.
Yeah,
love that guy.
Really is. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. To go had a heart attack at 46.
Yeah. If you look at his lifestyle, you saw it coming.
Just booze, girls, and darts, 24/7. Sex, breakfast of champions. That was his motto. He had it on the race kit.
Isn't that true? Well, one thing you forgot to mention, and we'll tackle that later because he's on my list.
Well, I was just gonna say his being called. He was called a rat. Nobody liked him, and the reason for that was because he was a no bullshit, stone cold. And he knew exactly, he did not care. He cared about being quick, and he cared about winning and making money.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's number 6 for me, not higher on this list. He had so much passion for the sport, but he just didn't really show it
to the media. Yeah, I guess.
And he just wasn't. But he was great with the team. He called Ferrari shit, which kudos to him for calling them out on his first day on the car. But he was great with the team.
But they got him places.
Yeah.
Doing that sometimes gets you places.
Exactly. He's a guy who's no bullshit, comes in and...
It's true.
So, Mark, is Nicky Lauda your number 6? Or
No.
who got him as number 6?
My number 6 is Sir Jackie Stewart. And I know people might think that's low, but the guys who are in my top 5, I couldn't move. Jackie Stewart had 3 drivers' championships and 2 second-place finishes.
Yep.
In the 1968 German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, the man finished in first place by a 4-minute margin while injured.
Yeah. Broken wrist.
That's not driving a car, that's not a small injury.
Yeah. Around the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
So Roman Grosjean, the fingerless man, one finger for each position he finished in the race. You think that's tough? That German Grand Prix? You got nothing on Sir Jackie Stewart.
No, not at all. Another thing I had to say about him was I said he's basically the founder of safety regulations within Formula One, but that's a little bit of a stretch. He just is a big proponent of safety regulations, and he's a lot of the reason why they are where they are today. Mm-hmm. And not to mention that's 27% win rate.
Yeah, which is insane.
Nuts.
27. That is insanely high. So I see on your list, he is actually my number 5 for those exact reasons you listed. And why did you put him? So I see, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. 6 is Sir Jackie Stewart, and 5 for you is Nicky Lauda.
You're right.
Why did you put Sir Jackie Stewart below Lauda?
Legacy is a big part of it. Nicky Lauda, yes, Rush might have something to do with that in recent years, I guess, but also what he's done for the sport up until last year when he tragically passed away. He was a huge part of Mercedes.
Yeah, he
was the world, the Formula One world kind of shut down when he passed away. I can't say that for a lot of other people that I've seen. And also, something I don't know if you know, he's the only driver to win a championship for both for both Ferrari and McLaren.
Really?
Yeah. In his first stint, he won 2 with Ferrari, I believe, and when he returned to the sport after a couple of years off, he won a championship, and I believe it was 83 or 84, with McLaren being the only driver to do so.
But
which is pretty impressive because those are two of the most storied franchises in the sport. 84.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that was an incredible season.
It was. It was. So those reasons are the reasons why I put him above Sir Jackie Stewart. Jackie Stewart probably had arguably a better race resume on track, but off track, like to see what Niki Lauda has done for Formula One up until, like I said, last year, he was as an advisor for Mercedes, like being so close to the drivers, like still beat like, and Rush did a lot for people who weren't huge Formula One fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was kind of one of my introductions to the sport was that movie.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoy that movie, but could you argue that that's not really a like, I don't think that was really like his idea, but it just kind of displayed his legacy in a little bit more of a light than Sir Jackie Stewart. I think Sir Jack, like, you have to say Sir because the man's been knighted.
Agreed.
Which is fucking. It's
pretty
sick.
Impressive.
Like, imagine I was Sir the Undercut podcast.
Maybe one day.
Welcome back to Sir the Undercut podcast.
Maybe one day.
I think
But you got to remember that this list isn't just about race accolades. It's not just about how good of a driver you were. Niki Lauda is substantially more of a household name than Sir Jackie Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not taking away from the driver that Jackie Stewart was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Amazing he was an incredible driver, and I'm sure a great man.
For the safety, and he's...
Yeah, great for the sport in general.
Yeah, saved a lot of lives.
Absolutely. Oh, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But
call him the doctor.
I don't know if his legacy... They do, but I don't know if his legacy is...
Yeah.
To the same...
For sure.
To the same point that... Well... Niki Lauda's is, but that's why we're here talking about it. Yeah. And
so moving on to number 4 now, trying to get through this list. Just want to watch our runtime.
We're doing fine.
For me, number 4, and again, this is someone that's going to be at number 1 for a lot of people, and number 2, but I put him at number 4, is Mr. Ayrton Senna, Master of Monaco, always pushed 110%. His win in Brazil, when it started raining, stuck in like 4th gear or 6th gear. I believe it was 6th gear. That was just an amazing win. I've watched the analytics and the onboards of that race, and he was so exhausted that his documentary was kind of my first introduction to the sport when back in kind of the 2015, 2016 era.
Right.
He always pushed 110%. Just such an iconic racer and so quick to be considered the master of Monaco,
6-time winner,
and the rain master, like not the rain master, that's Schumacher, but to be especially good in the rain. Those are two qualities that make a driver a good driver.
Agreed.
And very unfortunately, his untimely death in 1994,
San Marino.
But
it's a bad weekend.
He was loved by the press, adored. You say that like we were alive just watching the race, kicking back, having a couple beers.
No, but Roland Rosenberger died during qualifying the day before. That's two deaths in one weekend at the track.
Which is insane.
Absolutely terrible. And that was the last death until Gilles Bianchi, but he didn't die on track technically.
9 months later. It's very tragic.
Which is arguably worse.
But let's not depress the podcast here. Let's bring it back to some happiness, which is Ayrton Senna, the man, the myth, the legend in Brazil. Just an incredible driver. There is not one list you'll find where he is not on it. And that's why he's my number 4. He's got to be on there, and number 4 is the highest I would put him. Just because there's a couple guys that, well, you guys can probably guess the top 3.
Yeah, it's not a hard one.
Mark, who's your number 4?
So, my number 4 is Juan Manuel Fangio.
Yeah, Fangio.
Yeah. The only reason he's not higher for me, honestly, is, don't get me wrong, he is the face of Formula One in the 50s. Mm-hmm. He had an over 45% race win percentage and 5 championships early on in the sport, prior to driver safety. So it's impressive.
Yeah.
He has an impressive resume. The only thing that doesn't put him higher for me is the fact that, like, if you have a 45% race win percentage and 5 championships, kind of uncontested, how much... And I guess this is kind of a personal thing. How much competition did you really have?
Well, he's actually my number 3.
Right.
I put him above Senna, and what edged him above Senna was his win rate, and honestly, these two are kind of interchangeable for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But like 5 championships, that era with such a high fatality rate, such
terrifying.
a high the 50s, you basically were put in a metal steel coffin. They used to think that the harder, like before carbon fiber, it was like, oh well, you don't want the car to break, so we're just gonna
make it as rigid as possible and
yeah.
have flung you out of it.
From a physics perspective,
Yeah.
if you hit, you're absorbing all that energy.
Yeah.
So these guys, and they just
No crumple zones and nothing.
smoking dope and banging chicks all day. They're not training for the races. They got some
True.
champagne before. So
Smoking cigarettes on the track.
yeah, pit stop, quick cigarette. No, it's not. It's true, but a 48%.
You weren't there.
You're not handed a 48% win rate. You can ask the same thing about Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, how much competition they have, but 48% win rate, 5 championships, and to be a true icon in the 50s.
I mean, I'm not arguing that,
Yeah.
right? I'm saying, like, it was the early years of the sport. There wasn't as many regulations. The cars could be built. Granted, there's not that many regulations in Formula One from that angle now, but the cars could be built completely differently.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there wasn't really much, like, engine regulation back in those days.
No, you had guys that ran different engines and stuff. They were just kind of figuring out their legs.
Yeah, and, like,
But
a 45% race win, like, it's impressive. It's
48.
really 48. Sorry, it's impressive. It's really impressive. But it kind of seems like, man, like, why was there no one else who could compete with you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like I don't know. It doesn't. It seems it's very impressive, but it just loses a little bit of that because it's like, okay, you grew up, you raced in this era, and there was no competition for you. Like, why?
Yeah, that's a good point. You have because you have Fangio, and I know your number 3 is who's your number 3? Is it Senna?
It's Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, okay. I could kind of guess that. So yeah, you have a true icon who was so successful and one of the faces of the sport to this day, even after his untimely death 26 years later. And then you have Fangio, who short stint, 50 GP starts, 5 championships, pure race win, but it was in the 50s.
How the dude only raced
51 Grand Prix
one Grand Prix starts and had 5 world championships.
Yep, 24 wins.
That's impressive.
That is so impressive.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see. I wonder if they had a longer season back in the day.
It was like
would his numbers stand?
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, honestly, though.
Like, if he won... So, Kimi Räikkönen has raced 223 race starts. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
If he had a 50%... Well, let's just say it's 50%. If he had a 50% win rate, he would have, like, 160 race wins. Which is... that relativity is kind of
so
hard.
he's started... Kimi Räikkönen's been in 326 races, not 223.
Sorry, did I say 200?
Yeah.
I meant 326.
Yeah, that's what he's at now.
Oh, yeah, so he just passed at the German Grand Prix. He passed Rubens Barrichello for the most race starts, right?
Yeah.
But if he won, he would have like 150 plus race wins.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
To say that,
Which is pretty impressive. I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
If you can pull off 150 plus.
No. yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's my number 3. So as you can probably guess the top 2 if you're listening.
If you can't, why are you listening? No, I'm still.
If you're in the car, think about it. But send us a DM on our Instagram at the Undercut Pod and let us know who your number 1 and number 2 are. Ours are.
If it's not any of these people, I'm very interested to see who it is.
Yeah, and what if they're the same as ours? How would you rank them and why? Please send us a DM or on any of our social medias. So before we do that, I think we should jump into our honorable mentions. Just go over them really quick.
It's a good call.
So on our honorable mentions, we're just going to list the driver, a quick snippet of why we love them. Or, sorry, not why we love them, but why they weren't on this list, but why they're considered. So I'll list mine, and if you have a couple extras, feel free to list them. Jenson Button, World Championship in that Brawn. One of my favorite cars of all time. A beautiful car.
Great livery.
Beautiful. I have that car. I bought the die-cast model.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's so sick. He had some amazing drives. Canada 2011. Home Grand Prix for your boy, both of us. He was
Yes, sir.
just that race was so amazing. I've watched that race 4 times this year. 4. I can't get enough of it. It's like 5 hours. I just don't think he had the chops and the credentials to be on this list. I've listened to his audiobook as well. Great guy, and has had some success in other places. But if this was like a top 15 or a top 13, he would be on this list.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He's top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd throw him. He's on my honorable mentions too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd throw him top 13.
So my next one, Max Verstappen. Personally, my favorite driver. Again, not letting my opinions get in the way, but I love Max. He's one of my favorite drivers on the grid. He's just way too young and early in his career to even be considered for this list.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If I made this list in
Nor does he have enough accolades.
Yeah. If I made this list in 5 years, got a couple of championships under his belt, because he will with Red Bull. I'm calling it right here.
That.
You heard it here first.
You're talking about my Ferrari being a bold prediction? That's a bold prediction.
Are you kidding?
You said a couple championships. You didn't say one.
Yeah, a couple.
Okay.
Confirmed. Max Verstappen to Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, and Bottas out. Just going to be Max.
It's just going to be Max,
just
eh?
Max.
You know, he's not. Isn't he with Mercedes or Red Bull until like 2023?
I think he has a contract opt-out clause if a Honda leaves, but that was disputed by Christian Horner.
Yeah, I don't think they'd let him leave that easily.
Yeah, Christian Horner is basically
if he leaves, Christian Horner is.
Yeah, he really wants him to stay.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? He's Max Verstappen.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on to Lando Norris again. Fucking love Lando Norris. What a guy. Way too early in his career.
He's a sophomore, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
his second year. He's got one podium. But he's got so much potential, so much room to grow.
Agreed.
I love McLaren. And
that's pretty much all. That kid has a future.
Yeah, he has a future.
Yeah.
If McLaren kind of gets their shit together in the next couple of years and become championship contending, which I believe they will.
Honestly, they think about, okay, they're fast in corners already.
Yeah.
And next year they're getting the Mercedes power unit.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be.
But
they're gonna be tough.
To change next year's gonna be tough, because changing that engine and just changing the way that back end is designed, essentially, you're gonna have to change the way the front end's designed. They don't have a ton of R&D. Excuse me on that.
No.
So I think they might struggle a little bit next year, but in 2022 they're gonna come in.
Guns blazing.
Yeah, guns blazing, baby. Next on my list, Kimi, the Iceman Raikkonen. Honestly, I could list this one incident, and that would be enough for me to be in the honorable mentions. Monaco, 2006, in that McLaren. His engine ran out right after the Lowe's hairpin. Instead of he got out of the car.
Went right to the hot tub.
Right. No, not to the hot tub. He went, took his race suit top off, went right to the yacht, had a couple of brews with his friends.
Oh, yeah.
He just fell asleep, had a nap before his first race.
Hilarious.
Ice cream guy, like the Iceman. What a legend. He won the world championship in 2007.
Talk about a personality on that man, eh?
Yeah, but he's not really near the list of top 10. He's an iconic driver. The Leave Me Alone in Lotus 2012. And
he's definitely iconic. I don't know about his he's also had some serious longevity.
Yeah.
Like staying power. Staying power is it's impressive.
Yeah. And just bringing that much experience to... Yeah, but he's good with the car, good with the team, but just kind of really fell behind Sebastian Vettel and didn't give him a great fight.
No, he didn't.
For the championship.
Not at all.
And the last on my list is Alberto Ascari. He only raced a few races, but he had basically a 30+% win rate. He won 13 out of 33 races.
Yeah.
He had 7 in a row,
impressive.
Which was only beaten by Vettel. He was an icon in the 50s, and he unfortunately had an untimely death. But he had the Ascari chicane, named after him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't exactly put him on this list. Fernando Alonso and the likes of like Jim Clark kind of edged him out. But I believe if he raced longer, he would be really high on this list.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that's kind of it for my honorable mentions. Mark, you have anyone else that I missed?
Sir Sterling Moss.
Oh, very unfortunate. Passed away
the
last
best
year.
dry. No, this year.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say last year?
Yeah.
Fuck, this year has been so.
It's been such a mess.
March was either 2 weeks ago or 6 years ago. Jeez.
Nothing in between.
Yeah.
Sir Sterling Moss, the best driver to never win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
an icon to the sport, just like the rest of them. Has had street cars named after him, which the only person on this list that you can say that about is Ayrton Senna. Also, he's just an icon.
Yeah.
It's sad to see him go.
Mark, why isn't he on your list?
The fact that he never won that championship.
That is a good point.
Like, he... So much talent, so much skill as a driver.
Mm-hmm.
Also knighted, just like Sir Jackie Stewart. But
It's fucking sick.
so cool, dude. So cool. But
Man, I wish I was British. Be a road man.
dude, it'd be super cool.
Running around. my do-rag on, getting knighted.
Yo, if you wore a do-rag, I don't know if I'd ever talk to you again.
I don't know about it.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I talked to me either.
But
sponsored by Do-Rags.
Yeah.
Do-Rags, don't be that guy at the gym.
But just the I guess he didn't have that final push. He didn't have that pedigree, I guess, to get him to that championship, and that's what left him off my list.
And
Another honorable mention is Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti, yeah.
Yeah, he's Mario Andretti. When you think about motorsport, one of the first names that comes to mind is Mario Andretti.
Yeah.
He won Indy. He spent most of his career actually in Indy. He had like 10 years between two stints in Formula One. Also won a 1978 Formula One championship. Also, pretty impressive. He had a great resume, but the thing that kept him off the list was he wasn't. This is the top 10 best Formula One drivers of all time. This isn't the top 10 drivers of all time.
He wasn't in the sport long enough.
Not even that he wasn't in the sport long enough. It just wasn't his focus the entire time he was there either, right?
And they're not really involved in Formula One at all. They're involved in Indy. They Andretti motorsport teams. And they do pretty well. His sons are in Indy.
His sons raced F1 too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah.
Michael Andretti.
Okay.
For a little bit there.
How did I forget that?
It's okay.
Anyway, yeah, but he's kind of an indie boy through and through. But yeah, when you hear Andretti, you think like adrenaline, motorsport, racing, that kind of stuff.
Just an icon. Absolutely. And then my last guy is Nico Rosberg.
Yeah.
The only reason he would be on my list, the only reason he's not like, he's a great driver, but the only reason he really even made the honorable mentions list is he's the only person.
Why would you put a YouTuber on a Formula One list?
It's a good question. It's a really good question.
A podcast YouTuber? Would you put...
I would put us on this list. Number one is us, actually. Surprise.
Number one, Adam Lyons. He has zero race entries. He has 100% win rate. Every race he's entered, he's won.
Yeah.
But I haven't entered any race.
But the only reason... He's a talented driver, and the only reason he is on my honorable mentions is he's the only person in this twin-turbo hybrid V6 era to dethrone Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
And like the only person to come close.
Pretty much the only person to ever, I feel like, dethrone Hamilton.
Well, no, you could say that Jenson Button also dethroned Lewis Hamilton.
What a legend. Jenson Button. But that is a good point. 2016.
Joe Budden also dethroned Lewis Hamilton.
I just want to take a quick second to give a shout out to Mark Gould's brother, actually, Jonah Gould. He has the Soft Tire podcast. Make sure you take a listen to their podcast. They're on a bit different podcasts. They're on Apple, Podcast Bean, and Spotify. I was on their podcast on Tuesday where they reviewed the Eiffel Grand Prix, and we talked.
Be sure to give them a listen.
Yeah, we talked about Rosberg and his accomplishments in 2016. And yeah, I was on their podcast, and I just wanted to give him a shout out and thank him again for having me on. But yeah, Rosberg, like, a lot of people say it was luck that he won that championship, and it is a little bit of luck, but you got to be good to be lucky and be lucky to be good. And he won the first 5 races in a row. You're not handed that, especially against Lewis Hamilton. And he had fought tooth and nail, and he just he squeaked by, but he definitely deserved that championship. No one can take that away from him.
No, absolutely not. Just a quick little fun fact about that. He's only one of 2 father-son duos to both win a Formula One World Championship.
Who's the other one?
I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Kevin Magnussen?
I don't think it's Kevin Magnussen.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
But KK Rosberg and Nico Rosberg both won Formula One World Championships.
Yeah. I forgot Rosberg. Yeah, so those are all our honorable mentions as well. Mark searches that up because we are having brain farts right now. Right now, we are recording out of Toronto. Right now, it is 12:27 in the morning on a Thursday afternoon, so we are a little tired.
Yeah. The other father-son duo to do it, Graham Hill, won the title in 62 and 68, while his son Damon Hill triumphed in 1996, more than 20 years after his father passed away.
Right, of course.
And KK and Nico are the other two to do it.
Okay, well, so we're going to jump into our number 1 and number 2 right now. We're going to go over these guys quickly because you already know who they are. And you probably know all the facts. My number 2, Michael Schumacher, and my number 1, Lewis Hamilton. Schumacher I put second because he dominated throughout his career, even when he was young. 7 world championships. He is a true icon. Great on and off track performances.
Absolutely.
The only thing that put him a little bit lower than Lewis Hamilton. I mean, Hamilton's got more poles, more race wins, and
an equal number of race wins.
Equal number. My apologies. I just offended a couple of Ferrari fans there, including
I'm one of them.
But
we'll be talking about this later.
If you want to watch a proper bang out with me and Marco toe to toe after the podcast,
how dare you say that about Michael Schumacher?
Follow our Instagram for me and Mark to go 8 rounds in the ring. 7 world championships, dominated throughout his career. A great guy. Like, he's one of those guys where I really wish, like, if I could be friends with someone, it would be like a driver. It'd be him, and just
absolutely
so iconic. And and no one really knows his condition right now, but we all hope.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, we all hope he's doing well. But I respect the family for keeping that
absolutely
private. And oh man, it brought a tear to my eye watching Mick Schumacher hand that race helmet to Lewis Hamilton after the Eiffel Grand Prix.
I won't lie, I shed a couple.
Yeah, what an emotional moment for him.
Talk about the future.
Yeah,
that kid's gonna be something special.
I got a lot of hope for him. He's winning the F2 championship right now, or he's like in the top 2.
No, he last time I checked, he was winning.
Yeah, he's winning, right? His driving style is so cool, and you know, people associate him so much with his dad, but he's his own driver. Their driving styles, if you look at onboard laps of Schumacher and then onboard laps of Mick Schumacher and that Ferrari, of course, different circumstances, but he's got his own style and his own kick.
Every time I watch him do something special with one of his dad's cars, it's pretty incredible. Because, you know, how often do you get that?
Yeah, I wish my dad was a Formula 1 driver.
Dude, I don't think my dad could fit in a Formula 1 car.
Just poor Mark's dad, Jesus. Anyway.
To be fair, I don't know how well I'd fit either.
I don't even know if I'd fit. You got to basically be a fucking jockey to fit in those.
Yeah, you really do.
I don't know. Ours is like 5'7". But anyway, so I put Lewis Hamilton for the sole reason he dated Rihanna. That's it. Podcast over. Thank you very much for listening to the Undercut podcast. You date Rihanna, you're at the top of the list.
Didn't you hear about Michael Schumacher's 2011 fling with Rihanna after his family and kids and...
What?
No, I'm playing.
Mick Schumacher sends us a DM, bro. Don't expose my dad like that.
He's not even here to defend himself.
Lewis Hamilton, you know, I put him at number 1. He rose through the ranks as a black person in a predominantly right-dominated sport, faced so much racism, and he has done so much for the sport and so much for the environment and so much, and he's so quick and composed. Monaco 2019, he made those tires last. Like, he made them last the entire race. 71 laps.
That was impressive.
71 laps or longer. And just that, and just being able to pummel all of his teammates, especially in the turbo hybrid era.
It's impressive.
A lot of drivers have gotten worse in the turbo hybrid area that raced in the V8s. He's gotten better. And he keeps getting better. And keeps giving Mercedes the opportunity to give him good cars.
Agreed.
And so he's the face of modern Formula 1. He's gonna have more race wins. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, this isn't his last one, and probably more championships.
Yeah,
I say if he's not gonna win this year's Formula 1 World Championship. He's tied with 7.
And then next year with the frozen regulations, I don't think Bottas is gonna give him the beans.
Bottas isn't the driver.
No, so he's a huge. He's a huge supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement and just that and on and off. He's always on interviews, always doing, like, he was on Ellen. He's dated Rihanna. He's got his own fashion line. These are not
Yeah,
things that I
he's
consider
working with Tommy
putting him
Hilfiger.
number one, but he's a great driver, great on and off, great with the press. Fans love
great
him.
guy overall.
He's Britain's very own. I hate him, but I love him.
It's a love-hate relationship. Don't get me wrong. As a Ferrari fan, I have that same
And Mark,
distaste.
excluding your love for Ferrari, and I see looking at your list and I see you have Hamilton second and Schumacher first. Why?
I do.
Why did you put those guys in the opposite order?
Schumacher came with a pedigree. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
Like, he's the Michael Jordan. He's the LeBron James of Formula One. Outside of his, there's no arguing. He's the top 2 best drivers of all time.
Yeah.
I have a personal opinion that he's the best, but like, he also was in a different era. He didn't get given, arguably the best car of all time
in the Bennington. that Ferrari.
Yes, the F2004. I agree is probably one of the best 2000 to go.
It's in the top 3 best cars
ever, absolutely. But he did win 2 championships in a car that wasn't so great.
That's a good point.
And those Benetons.
It was a race-winning car, but he pushed that.
He pushed that car more than that car could do. He also did what it took to win. He wasn't afraid to be a little dirty when he had to be, and I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving in '97, giving Jacques Villeneuve that little boot. Granted, Jacques Villeneuve did end up winning that championship because of the penalty, but
yeah, because he got a race season ban.
Yeah,
he got all those points taken away.
Yeah,
that's why I put him number 2. Just an incident like that. Hamilton hasn't had a ton of incidents like that.
No, he hasn't.
If any that I remember. But Michael Schumacher, great guy. Lewis Hamilton. I put Hamilton first, and that's surprising because if this was I put Hamilton last on the list of ever because I just can't stand him. But I can't stand him because he's winning a lot.
And I get that. Yeah, you want to see. I want someone to mix it up. I don't want to see Hamilton win 13 races in a season. You know what I mean? But like that didn't have an impact on my pickings. Also, to this date, Schumacher has 7 world championships, which is one more than. At the time of this recording, he has one more world championship.
We're going to redo this list after Hamilton wins the 7th championship and beats him in race wins and pole positions.
Yeah, at that point, it'll be pretty clearly.
But give a shout out to Michael Schumacher, the master, rain master.
Also, the best driver to ever drive in the wet.
That, I forget the year, and I don't know why I forget the year, but in Silverstone, when it was Mika Hakkinen, was closing up on him, he was ahead, but he got a drive-through penalty for... I don't remember, but he pit on the very last lap, crossed the line, then served his penalty. Just those things like that. That's that mentality that you just need to try those things, and that's what made him world championship. Just that mentality. That's
that race winner mentality. That's that I will do anything in my power to win this race.
Precisely.
That's that Michael Jordan pedigree. That's that LeBron James. I'm gonna win. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's, for me, what drove Michael Schumacher to number 1 on this list. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be as unbiased as you can, throw something like this. Maybe my love for Ferrari did have a little bit of a bias. Just a little bit of a bias towards it, but like, I will never not love Michael Schumacher. Mm-hmm. And he will, honestly, he's my number 1 right now, for sure. Unarguable.
Okay, so... just to review my list really quick, starting from 10, Fernando Alonso, Jim Clark, Alain Prost, Sebastian Vettel, Niki Lauda, Sir Jackie Stewart, Ayrton Senna, Juan Michael Fangio, Michael Schumacher, and Lewis Hamilton. Mark, what is your list?
Number 10 is Nigel Mansell. 9, we have Fernando Alonso. Number 8 is Alain Prost. Number 7's... sorry, that's my French. Number 7, Sebastian Vettel. Number 6 is Sir Jackie Stewart. Number 5, Niki Lauda. Number 4, I have Juan Manuel Fangio. Number 3, I have Ayrton Senna. Number 2 is Mr. Lewis Hamilton, and number 1 is Sir Michael Schumacher. He's not a sir, but he's a sir in my mind. And I know we said before we would end the podcast today, we talked about what we think our together top 10 list is going to be. Just real quick, what do we think?
Just really quick, I think Fernando Alonso 10.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your number 9 again?
Fernando Alonso, but I'll back 10.
Okay, so number 9, Nigel Mansell.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Sorry, let's do Nigel Mansell at 10.
Okay.
Fernando Alonso at 9.
Yeah, I back that.
Then So then Alan Prost at 8.
Yeah, we both had him right.
Sebastian Vettel at 7.
Yeah.
I think we got to put Lauda at 6 and Jackie Stewart at 5.
I'll concede to that if you concede to putting Ayrton Senna at 3 and Fangio at 4.
Yeah. So Fangio, Senna,
This is where it gets interesting.
Schumacher, Hamilton.
I don't want to budge on Hamilton or Schumacher at number 1.
Yeah, but he's gonna Hamilton. We need to start calling him 7-time world champion.
Not until it happens.
Yeah, I guess until the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
But he's equal to race wins, more poles.
I'm not arguing that, but I don't know, man. He doesn't have that he doesn't have that household name, Michael Schumacher. Growing up, when my mom would see,
he dated Rihanna.
I understand
you were a god.
I understand he
Rihanna.
I understand he dated Rihanna, but it's not like, dude. When I grew up, I heard when someone was driving like an asshole on the street, my mom would go, "Look at that! Look, that guy fucking thinks he's Schumacher, doesn't he?"
I guess that's a good point.
You don't hear that about Lewis Hamilton. He has that
All right, you know what? We'll leave it up to the listener. Mom, thank you for listening.
It's a good call.
Mom, I know you don't know a bunch about Formula 1, but you let me know.
Well, my mom does, so Alyssa Gould, come on, help me out here.
It's unsatisfying, but we will agree to disagree. Send us a DM who you think's number 1 and who you think's number 2. Is it Schumacher? Is it Hamilton? Is it someone else? Send us a DM.
Let us know.
Let us know. I just want to give a quick shout out to Randy on the radio. This is Mark's dad. We're using his studio. His Instagram is Randy_on_the_radio, and that's RANDY. You can also just search up Randy on the radio. Listen to his.
You can find him at Magic 105 on Live 365, the website, www.live365.com or .ca. One of those.
Thank you, Randy, for letting us use your studio. And yeah, so that's our list. So next weekend, we're going to review the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it's a good race. I have no idea what to expect.
Neither do I.
You have any quick predictions for that? Because I have nothing. Hamilton's going to win.
Hamilton, all right, so I guess it's going to be a Mercedes one too, like it is every time. Or a Verstappen split.
Verstappen is going to take advantage, and he's going to win. It's going to be Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo 4th. That's the top 4. That's my prediction.
Who are you putting at number 5? Give me a top 5.
I'm gonna go Carlos Sainz.
Yeah,
Carlos Sainz at 5. Yeah.
I don't know. I might agree with you there, but I have a little hope or prayer that's gonna be Charles Leclerc because he's been outperforming that car all year.
I guess that's a good point. I haven't really looked at. I'm gonna do some research on this track and see if Ferrari's gonna be strong at them, and we will come back.
Ferrari's not gonna be strong at any track this year. I'm gonna throw that out there, and that's coming from a big Ferrari fan.
Yeah, I guess that's good.
But Leclerc is gonna be strong as a driver.
But yeah, and that's pretty much our list. Did you agree with our list? Did you not agree with our list?
Please let us know.
Please let us know. Send us a DM. If you want to have a screaming match on Instagram DM, hit us up. We love.
By all means, we love to talk about it.
We love debating it. So let us know. And yeah, that's pretty much it from us. Thank you very much for watching. If you have a different list, let us know. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Check out our YouTube. This video should be uploaded to YouTube as well. If you're listening to it on the podcast, it's on YouTube, and that's the Undercut Pod. Check out our website. Our website's going to be live by Sunday at www.theundercutpod.ca. So make sure you check us out to learn more about us and get a preview of the episodes. All right.
Looking forward to see you guys soon. See you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much for marketing. From the Undercut Podcast, I'm Adam.
I'm Mark. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week.